Hello. Sorry, bad start. Anyway, hello. Welcome to a new set of videos. So yeah, we completed a one TV series, a good collection of films, and one film having a sequel. Now this time we're going to do a full trilogy, and I've thought to go for these three films because I grew up with them, and over time they have kind of faded in history almost, but I can somewhat have a few guesses why, but anyway, so I'm gonna try and watch these as a first time viewer and see if they're pulled up or not. So is that my dog's barking? I'm not sure. Anyway, alright, so yeah, first film, Lion Witch of the Wardrobe, and it's quite long. Hopefully I might do this in one day. We'll see what happens. Sorry if I get into new interruptions later. I am finishing a render on the laptop, so I'll close that down in between. So if you're on 000, etc., we'll go in 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, this was 2005, and this is probably definitely like one of the first 5 films I saw at the cinema. I remember the official website and I'm thinking, wow, this was pretty cool, because I think when I was younger, I used to just only like to watch animated films because I knew they wouldn't like scare me as much compared to if things were real life. But I think this was probably like one of my first live action films. Granted, there is like a lot of CGI in that, but I need to put my subtitles on. But yeah, even if like writing wise, there are like many other films people prefer, or like the general public prefer, I still feel like the imagination's top notch. Like I really like a lot of C.S. Lewis's ideas, what he came up with. Okay, so what do we start in? I've had to really turn up the brightness. I can really see. Oh my god, that's a lot of planes, that is. Okay, so we're just seeing what it was like from the ground. Yeah, really showing the hectic nature. Yeah, this would most likely be 1940, wouldn't it? Wow, that's a lot. There you go, there's Edmund. He's just casually watching it. Yeah, I think he seems to, instead of thinking, oh, danger, let's run, I think he seems to be the opposite way. He seems to, I guess, um, just get curious about danger, I suppose. Anyway, Lucy's a bit scared, so she needed to move, and Susan's helped her out, which is good. Peter's behind the lot, so he's just guiding the rest with the mother leading them. And they also have, oh no, so we'll see what Edmund's trying to get hold of. Oh, that's nearby. Oh yeah, definitely the glass is shattered. So yeah, they have a outside shelter bunker. I can't quite figure the word. Because I remember there's the type of cages that go under tables if you didn't have a garden. Yeah, so Edmund needed something to remind him of his dad, and it's a strong trait, but I don't know if it's expanded much. And yeah, Peter earlier has just criticised him for um, you know going for danger like that. But regardless, they're all fine, and now the kids now have to be evacuated very quickly. I don't know the 4 main kids. I don't know what they've been up to recently. Granted, one or two have definitely stopped acting, but yeah, I just wonder what they're up to. Um, so yeah, Peter's like treated as leader, the one to listen to, and that definitely has, uh, reoccurring, um, across the story. Yeah, I think this is the only time we see the mum as well. Maybe referenced later in a couple of times, but yeah, this is definitely a collection of goodbyes that definitely has a lot of weight because I don't think they know how long it will be until they're able to come back to London. I feel like I recognise the actress of the mum, but I think I don't think I do. I don't think I recognise her. Yeah, the whole train is almost giving me. It almost reminds me of Harry Potter, but um, oh yeah, I wonder why Peter got distracted there. I think it's probably like the first time he got to see soldiers, or in fact, when I was younger, I thought Peter was like trying to look for his dad, but maybe that if that was true, maybe Edmund should have done that first, but at the same time, Peter would be the one to look after the tickets. I wonder what their ages are as well. We hear about Lucy's age later. Um, there you go, she's got a good spot to wave, nice clear view. Oh, yeah, they have to put behind a gate as well. Yeah, it's quite sensible because you don't want to. Yeah, it's just to keep the public safe from the moving train. Okay, and then so that's what the area looks like. Yeah, I never really had a look around what this whole area is like surrounding like where the train is leaving from. Although yeah, I think some of it was collateral damage. Where it looks like they had to show some kids. They didn't exactly chat with them, but yeah, sort of wise. They didn't really need to. I guess if anything, it just shows. Yeah, I think all of I think a good majority of these carriages are filled with children. There might be one or two adults to help lead them to where they're going, unless all the adults are just at that station. And I think it would most likely take a load of stops as well. Oh, okay, yeah. So they're assigned to certain adults. Yeah, she was just checking one of them then. Yeah. Harry, I don't know that name of the composer. Because yeah, the score is quite good in this. And not only do I really like the main theme, but I do always remember this gentle tune. It's almost like a small easing into a sense of I can't really say a sense of adventure because they're only going to the countryside, but see whole new setting for them that they're about to embark. And the reason what backs up this theory of mine is because they play this tune again when they do come back to Narnia in the following film. Alright, and yeah, Andrew, he directed the two Shrek films, didn't he? Oh yeah, he would have done the first two, and then only two gone to. Look at that car. But yeah, I think he did work on this, hence why he couldn't really make it to Shrek 3, which I'm curious about that one. Maybe I should do that one alone as a commentary, because everyone of the other films have been talked about so well, but not so much of that one. I'm quite curious to see what that one's like with the rewatch. Alright, so who is that? It's put no one on edge already. Yeah, there's not an awful lot of luggage, but I think I think considering how long they're away, I think they probably might get given like spare clothes from who they're assigned with as well, alongside a couple of important things. Kirk. Okay, so that's his name. Yep. So just the general rules. So just a bit a barrister, but I suppose Season's kind of curious or likes a history. So we get a small idea for what this house is like, but it's only um, a thing that like the setting goes like we come in and out of it during the first half of the film, because I think the midpoint is where they've finally all four of them right now, isn't it? And he's struggling with, or at least struggling to adjust to what the bedding is like. Yeah, it's also so unfamiliar. Yes, Edmund's already a troublemaker and needs talking down to. I have read the book as well. It's actually rather short, and I remember liking it. I could do with finding out what the differences were, but I think considering how the small the book is, like this is a 2.5 hour film, quite long for a kids' film, so I assume it's faithful. Although it brings the question, what was Prince Caspian or uh, the Voyage one was like? Yeah, I think this film just made the punchline. They talk about, we could do anything outside, and it only needs to rain quite early on. And there is like that sense of the kids kind of being a bit bored, but I think it does quicken with everyone being. What was the object Devon just played? I don't know. And also this song here, this is a like 40s tune, isn't it? It's gonna most likely, yeah. I don't know an awful lot about 40s music, other than that tune that plays in the credits of Endgame. That's a 40s tune, isn't it? Because when Captain America travelled back in time. Um, um, yeah, but I am curious because the 50s I haven't listened to a lot of either. Like granted, there's Elvis, but there's the Platters and Buddy Holly who I have listened to, and so it's actually quite good. Anyway, so they've all found hiding spots, and looks like Lucy might find a hiding spot, although she's I don't know what that is. I think that small Narnia motif comes about as well. That insect, could that have come from the wardrobe, or I don't know, just put off by the presence of it? Perhaps I think was that the point of it. I was listening to the motif. There it is. That's actually a really nice tune. Could it even be like Lucy's theme, perhaps? Yeah, and the design of it is really, the wardrobe, it's rather cool because it does look like a door almost, and like all of the markings as well. But yeah, no, she's probably a bit weirded out about how big this is because it was like somewhat cuboid at first, but then she's hopped elsewhere. Yeah, I see. The books were popular at a point where there was a skit in itself in a Young Ones episode. Because everyone, because the four lads they played hide and seek, and it was Vivian who um it was went through the wardrobe, and then he immediately it comes across the White Witch, and when she was like, "Oh, would you like Turkish delights?" he then goes, "No, got any kebabs?" It's simple, but I quite like it. Anyway, um, she's all in awe about it, and he nearly made a George of the Jungle joke, but because that takes a rip out about the word or the phrase in our of something, when you look around, although I didn't know how to word it back then. I say that is a film I probably would like to do because that one isn't really talked about much despite having quite a following. Okay, yes, so she knows where the wardrobe is, so she's just she's keeping track on her movements, which is rather good. and lamp as well. So yeah, there is like a good amount of iconography in these films, and it's, yeah, we've yeah this trilogy has really been overshadowed by all sorts, hasn't it? Yeah. I think this is like one single lamp amongst this forest, so no wonder she's like wondering about it. Now she can hear something. Who is it? Don't touch the pole, Lucy. You might get frostbite. I nearly get some, when going into my work's fridges. So yeah, he's hiding as well, and fawns on exactly something you see every day. But yeah, Lucy's seen that's not a threat. Okay, now she's thinking of coming closer to it. Yeah, because we only seen a couple of glimpses, so even we're like, oh, who is this? Just quick turn around. Yeah, because like human children aren't really a thing in this world either, so I think he too is a bit like puzzled. Oh, but yeah, look how young James is. I wonder how old he is there. Yeah, the Who's a CGI, but not too bad. But 2005. So he does have a lot of stuff. I'm not sure what the stuff is. I guess we'll find out. Okay, so he's being honest. That's nice of him. Quite a jump. Yeah, so that's already sparking a couple of ideas in Mr. Thomas's head. Ah, okay. So that's how. Well, that's just like early steps of how the world works. Oh yeah, I thought that's what it was. Yeah, for a second I thought he was like, "Oh, my hands are a bit too full." Yeah, which is partially true. Wrong hand. But yeah, not to mention, so he's hinted about the prophecy, the daughter of Eve kind of thing that you mentioned earlier. But he says later on about, yeah, is it like all creatures or some creatures that if they ever encounter humans, then they must hand them in to the White Witch? Will they go familiar food? Yeah, so he seems to be, yeah, living on his own. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just going to quickly move this. This is running out of charge fast. Please reach, please reach, please reach. Might have to watch this from an awkward angle. Fine. Yeah, I'll just have to be careful. It looks quite cool near the entrance to it. Also, no, it's something that you didn't really think of, an umbrella in the snow, like, of course, because, it can be quite blinding sometimes. Yeah, he's most likely spotting out for any of the White Witches' goons. So you do get to see what his house is like, quite old-fashioned. Most likely a lot of it's been carved, and that painting must, well, of course it will be painted, no photographs. Oh, that's currently going on at the moment. Is he at Aslan's camp then? Oh, okay. Oh no, he's referencing a different something earlier then. Something that happened earlier. So I guess. Ah, so Christmas does happen in this world. Okay. So yeah, we're already getting an idea about the White Witch's presence. Oh, how old is she? Drinking tea. I know tea is like fine for all ages, although um, maybe she does back at London. Oh yeah, she gets out. Uh, yeah, he gets out a quite funny looking instrument, and despite looking a bit odd, the instrument, I can see how it can be functional. Yeah, and he wasn't wrong about the fire. It's already there. Oh, that's what the tune is actually doing. Oh yeah, he's making a gesture to point that out. So this kind of gives us glimpses for what also exists in this world. Oh yeah, absolutely, because it does end with Aslan at the end. Yeah, those are other forms. So it's almost like a culture that is almost like put on hold because of the winter. There he is. Yeah, and so the next thing that happens is that, okay, so firstly, I don't know how long she's been asleep, but he then talks about, the White Witch and what's happening, and how, like I said, about how he needed, he's been told to hand any humans in. Although, what was the point of the tune that he was doing? I guess at first, it looks like, it's just helping introduce Lucy to the world a bit more. Although, did Aslan interfere, being like, um, they tell her? Because this was Aslan. Of course, he would be aware of the prophecy, but does he have a sense of presence, or like a sense of like humans finally coming? I think that's what I said is probably my best guess because Lucy fell asleep as well. Um, I'm a bit puzzled. Although, okay, that explains that. Yeah, with all of these trees, yeah, I don't know what's around, but he's decided to keep her safe, which is very noble of him. There you go. They found the lamppost. So yeah, she's not far from home, I suppose. Yeah, so yeah, definitely. Like, despite what's going on, they're definitely mates. That's for sure. And he's pretty much saved her, which is really nice. Ah, so you can see the end of Peter's counting. So yeah, she's back here, and yeah, and time hasn't moved at all. So that would mean time mechanics. Oh yeah, I think it does have like some kind of aging thing. Her aging's most likely like, I think, put in another dimension because they grow older in the end and then come back as kids when they come back. So anyway, we'll make stop on that because oh yeah, why does the wardrobe um like not do anything then? Is that like a limit it has? Does it only open in need? Oh no, she's really getting undermined. I think what Lucy should have done is like gone in the wardrobe with Susan being like, oh, why is this wall here? And that's another moment of missing his dad. Although I feel like there should have been a bit more set up towards that because we have had moments of Edmund misbehaving, but that's like the first like mocking comment he's made. So I felt like he should have made a couple more earlier on in the film, and then would have paid that off a bit better. So yeah, she isn't bullied, and so yeah, quite an experience. But she's probably gonna have to forget about it for now. And all right, we'll just see how it goes. Yeah, this is actually like quite a slow-moving film at first. Like at this point, we just let's see, we just had an introduction, where they had to work hard to survive, and then they travelled, and they're settling in the home, and then in between there's um, the adventure to the forest at one point, and now we're back here. So yeah, just I guess just taking its time, to build up bits and bobs, and also earlier, so Lucy's put the boots on instead of slippers, so she's intending to try and go back in out again. So I think she's only going to see that she doesn't. Well, just making sure she isn't wrong. Although, um, but yeah, but not to mention, she decided to go back here despite what Mr. Thomas did clearly explain to her. Uh, okay. So even Edmund's not wondering where she's gone, and of course he would have noticed Lucy moving earlier because of their candlelight. Yeah, where has she gone? So he's about to find out. And not to mention, is this like yet another pocket? Because if he's about to encounter the White Witch, then does that mean Lucy's in a safer pocket dimension where she's going to be able to go back and forward to Mr. Thomas, and then but he manages to encounter, the White Witch and that goon of hers. Nice for you to say. Um, yeah, so he's just seeing it from his perspective because, when Lucy came in, we just came to the forest. It's like the whole sense of adventure, but with Edmund's point of view, it's a bit unsure. But after being told, the danger earlier on, it's a bit more tense here. Yeah, I hope he knows his way back. What is this? Yeah, what does Paul the carriage? Oh, just normal reindeers. Okay. Yeah, I think he was a bit stunned at a point where he didn't quite get himself to move out of the way. Anyway, so we just saw a glimpse of the White Witch there. Oh no, now he's being chased. Ginnerbark, is that his name? Okay. Oh god, he's very immediate. Because he probably recognises him as human, maybe. That's why he was already quite threatening. Oh, so yeah, so the both the witch and the goon definitely know who he is. Oh, there you go, the prostitutes come up again. Oh no, so that puts Thomas in danger now. So at first, yeah, the witch seems to be, quite friendly at this point. But not to mention, so does that mean like anyone who, although well, she does like have her army, so I think both of them know who are on their side, and anyone that's not on their side, they would immediately confront them in that manner. I can see that happening. The reason I just did myself is that I was just trying to make a joke because with because who knows what the limit is with that ability. In the future, could she like generate like a pop tart or something? That would have been quite funny. I can imagine like a parody of that being made. Maybe I could do it if I got time to animate. So they seem to know what Turkish lights are, although I think they are quite an old invention. In fact, I'm going to quickly look. Turkish delight when it was invented, 1777. Oh my gosh. So yeah, so there are like some connections between Narnia and Earth in some way, especially with Christmas being mentioned. So yeah, with all of these offers, the drink and then the food. Oh. Very enough, so she. Anyway, so yeah, she's almost like luring Edmund in to be like or get the others, and obviously for those who have watched this before, yeah, of course she would be after the rest. Oh, that is. Yeah, she's quite manipulative as well, and she seems to be quite effective. Does he know what the Turkish lights are? He seems to be in there already, unless he just recognises them as sweets. But Turkish lights are quite unconventional for sweets. Oh, she kind of she's she's very effective putting on your seat, because it's almost as if you don't know when she's going to bark almost. But yeah, she's just almost acting like a good parent, but at the same time, she's just a, you know, because she was talking about not ruining his appetite, but I think she probably needs to get going. And wait, oh wait, so okay, so it is one pocket dimension. How did she avoid the? Oh, it's only because the queen came later. Oh, okay, I think that's why. Not gonna lie, I thought he Ebony encountered her immediately, but it's luckily he wasn't spotted. Although I can somewhat see why. Maybe the trees, maybe she was quiet enough. Yeah, he's a bit stunned. He's just been offered all sorts. Yeah. I suppose the witch also has like a good idea for what child's minds are like, because telling with her telling Edmund that oh, you can be your own king and you can get your siblings to be servants. Like yeah, he's definitely not old enough to recognise the consequences that would do, and the weight it will do onto others. Like this is just sibling rivalry that could be could be too far. Anyway, so now Edmund's getting asked about to, get asked about the if he did share the same experience as Lucy, and oh, but no, yeah, now he's about to be. Oh no, that's mean. I'd say Lucy's actress is rather good, to be able to cry like that. Oh, yeah, Evan deserved that. Yeah, that push. There you go. There's Percy the Park Keeper. That's just another role that this fella has played. He's a really good actor. What's his name? John something. Professor Slughorn. Although he looks like he was already up. Oh yeah, of course, yeah, hot chocolate was a mention back then. Shall I look that up as well? I think I will. Hot chocolate. Origin, okay. Uh, oh my god, even before the 1500s. That's a long time. Yeah, so he seems to understand Peter and Susan quite well. Oh, now he's. Oh yeah, because there are like small hints throughout the film where he's, um, almost like familiar with the wardrobe, but he doesn't like let himself know that he's familiar of what's inside it. Yeah, yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's been a long time since you've been in school, mate. Yeah, because if these kids were smart enough, then you probably could see in her reactions that she isn't lying. So this is pretty much like oops. um, anyway, it's just like a moment of, again, maybe you should start believing Lucy more. Well, I'm saying that in a very broad, on the surface kind of way. Half true, but you need your vitamin D, mate, from the sun. So now he's trying to play hard, and how does he swing it? Oh yeah, would have done that kind of curve. I don't know my sport terminology. Oh no, one ball did. Okay, it's only knocked that over. I feel it's going to be a lot worse actually. But you hit it. So he seems to like shifting the blame on anyone else as well. And yeah, of course, you would want to run away. Yeah, Mrs. McCready's like the. No, she's like the housekeeper, isn't she? Oh yeah, so jumping far ahead. So yeah, when they come back, the professor sees them at the wardrobe. To no time has passed for them at all. I think I would have liked to see like if Screedy was like in the background, being like, "Oh, so that's where they hid off to." Well, I think they're scared of getting into trouble because they've already been introduced with how strict Mr. Greedy is. Despite not a lot of time, yeah, she is kind of scary. There you go. So now they're all out. Also, I just realised I thought this was up until the midpoint, but actually no. So this is most likely the pub fun and games thing. So yeah, in the grand scheme of things, we introduced Mr. Thomas, the witch, and with those little bits of the setup and alongside that dynamic parts of it, now the adventure's about to begin. She's almost like sarcastic, being like, "Yeah, he didn't believe me, but fine." At least he's trying to get Edmund to join along, but because of the witch earlier, I think that's something that's probably put him on edge. And I think with what he's been promised as well, he's probably like trying to maintain like an aggression towards them. Yeah, because I don't think Edmund really like appreciates their siblings. Well, not until much later, thanks to the adventure. Do be careful, Lucy. The witch is out and about. Um, because no, oh no, yeah, she's only been told. But did Edmund say that he met the Queen to Lucy earlier? Oh, that's mean. So it's just moments like that makes Edmund like dislike the others more so. It strangely suits Edmund. I feel like I would suit it. It's the most distinct one almost, which could be like a symbolism thing. So they all spot the lamppost, which actually pays off later. So yeah, they're just off for a wander. Although I feel like, because it makes sense why Edmund wouldn't really talk about it, because he personally didn't see the witch as a threat, but well, despite the immense power she has, but I just felt like at least he should. Anyway, so did Lucy actually eat some food while she was there? I think they did. It was just like some. No, hang on. No, it was all played in real time, wasn't it? Did she actually eat anything? Mr. Thomas's. Sorry, my memory's going fuzzy. So the door is down, and we can definitely assume that the goons have been. Although we've just only been told that the witch has spies, spies that can definitely be active, and not to mention with what the world looks like, it could be anything at this point. Oh, is it the wolves? Okay, yeah, so that helps narrow it down. And not to mention this world writes in English, which is also interesting. That's her real name. Oh, okay, Jadis. I'm sorry if I misspelled that. I'm kind of reading it with some subtitles. And that's her footprint as well, almost like a signature. Or who did the wolves like write the letter? Unlikely. But not to mention, this is the first time. Yeah, Lucy's now telling them new information about. I feel like they would have had more of an understanding of this world before um, jump to these conclusions, because because Susan doesn't really know this is a fictional world. They haven't really been told much, or other than Mr. Thomas, being non-human. I think that was spoke about briefly, but Susan already going to conclusion, being like, oh, these are the forces. The police can't do anything about this. So yeah, I'm a tad stuck on that, although I suppose you can infer it. But yeah, so the bird communicated at them as well. I like how the Edmund's like the least on edge, but they're fine. The CGI kind of partially holds up then as well, I think. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just the sunlight being glistening. He's been from snow, so of course he would be reflective, almost. And that is Ray Winston. Oh, so he talks about how he was in contact with Mr. Thomas, wasn't he? Yeah, and also Mr. Thomas would have probably said, oh, she was, the youngest one if he ever encountered the four of them. Or did he just simply say the name and wonder who it was? Because it either would have been her or Susan, rather. Not really. Yeah, they could do a getting moving. Yeah, Susan's a bit in disbelief despite yeah, I think despite what she was talking about with the letter in her hand earlier, but I think she's just also in disbelief that these normal everyday animals seem to be smarter than they are back at home. I wonder where they've actually filmed, because these are actually some really nice areas. Although there is a green screen shot later on, that looks like a built archway, unless that actually exists. Yeah, these got to be real places, surely. And that's her home, which is. Oh, I don't think the green screen shot comes until much later, but I actually really like the Beavis' house. Although, what's their names again? And that's Dawn French. I would have liked to meet that badger. I wonder what he's like. They meet a badger in Fantastic Mr. Fox, right? I haven't seen it yet, but so yeah, the two of them already seem quite funny. Well, just very likeable already. Yeah, probably. Yeah, like if this was like a first time viewing, yeah, they're probably two of my favorite characters already. And so far, there's like enough narrative sense of them being beavers, like with the wood, and they're quite adaptable to the snow as well. So they probably could get around and settle better than other creatures. Well, the rest of the can, but still. The gates. Oh, so they have that in their world as well. Was yes, Lewis like British then? With fish chips being an being an English invention. I think. Anyway, this is their first mention of Aslan. I'm surprised Peter and Susie weren't wondering, because that's the first time I've heard. But okay. Although maybe they are just still stuck in disbelief. Yeah, if Aslan is meant to be the king, well, if anything, the White Witch is kind of asserting her own title. She's almost like a fake ruler. Yeah, they are young. Yeah, that's pointed out. See, a lot of things have happened with their arrival already. Oh, okay. There's back. Huh. So the army's recent. Okay. I'm assuming that's the place in London. But yeah, this is. And yeah, the only one that's not sat down. You can see how he would have come out and about silently. Which means that there's all sorts of dangers. And yeah, him getting the coat would have also drawn more noise. So yeah, although with the mention of the gates or something, I think that gives him an idea. Oh, that he still doesn't really know where he's going. I suppose he's just continually moving forwards. Is that his line of logic? Say earlier, so there is like some kind of dilemma. Are they, do they, they're all in doubt with the prophecy, but at the same time they want to help Mr. Thomas, but now a new problem's arrived. Edmund's just gone. Oh wow, it even looks like a crown as well. And yeah, it's far too dangerous to go there. I'm surprised Edmund hasn't been like approached earlier. Oh yeah, because would there be like outside guards? Careful. No. Oh gosh, I must. Yeah, that's a lot of tension now. I think all of them are, just like all angry with themselves at a point where Caesar's probably putting the blame on Peter, and although I guess Susan, I think she must be thinking, oh, we wanted to leave sooner. I bet she wondered, if they is that was that the reason? Oh yeah, so those statues, as we later find out, they're just only frozen people. When I was younger, I just used to think it's extremely thick ice, but no, it's stone, which is similar to ice, I suppose. So there is like ice stone connection, which is actually kind of neat. I kind of like that. But not to. Oh, so I sometimes that's just a brand new thought of this film. I think they must have been frozen like in lots of different locations, and I think they've just been moved here. Also, that gets a quite a funny payoff because at first I don't really know what he was doing, but could you even like see the markings he did? Oh, just about okay. Although it probably would have like dyed his fur, when coming, when coming back, in the real world, we'll see later on. Hopefully, he can wash it off. Oh gosh, that always makes me jump. There we go. That's enough to. Oh gosh, I wonder who that voice actor is. He does well to like put on a very, um, I know he's just very threatening and ready, and yeah, the way like jumps up as well. He definitely would have been there to guard the inside. Because, I reckon other people of like those on Addison's sides would have been trying to get them. I say the back of him, the CD didn't quite match the light in there, but other than that, it does seem to fit in quite well. Yeah, they're these CGI creations that seem to have aged quite well. Oh, that's a coat. It is. Oh yeah, because at first I thought it was, well, she would use that coat to sit with because otherwise just sitting on ice. So that's actually kind of neat. So it's both like a blanket and a coat almost, or at least something that just soften the furniture. Imagine if she's like wants to sit in the woods at one point and she's like, oh, I better sit on this. So yeah, he's just giving himself a sense of, oh, I'm going to be ruler if all of this, if what she's saying is true. Not to mention, I feel like without the coat, it makes it a bit more imposing. As if all of that softness is like gone. Oh, which is definitely close enough. So yeah, because at first, yeah, because if he came on his own, then of course she would be quite confrontational. But yeah, I don't think that Beavis's home is that far. That's the first thought he has. I think, well, yeah, he is just a kid. He's probably needs something to comfort him and, um, try and like get some thinking he could be rewarded in some way. Margaret. So that's hit the wolf's name. Okay, or leading wolf anyway. Yeah. So, yeah, they're all going to be sent down to the Beaver's house. Although, why not? Um, oh well, what she promised Edmund is, of course, a lie. Although, why is Edmund still being kept alive? Could it be for, I don't know, if they have all the information they need? So I guess we'll wait and see later on. Oh, I think she does. Oh, yes, I think Edmund is like kept for future information later on. So there is that. But anyway, but does the Queen know that he has other information? I'm not sure. The placement's levity, drawn on the statue, then that it's well placed and natural, so it seems to understand. Um, anyway, so they're in trouble. So yeah, they're just only looking at the area, but yeah, not to mention that's a lot of logs because they're really struggling to get through that. Maybe you can help too, mate. So we can assume a bit of passage as time has appeared because they've gone down to a bunker, I think. Yeah. There's times where the dogs look more real. I wonder if they did use real ones every now and again, depending on what the actions are like, which is sensible. Oh no, go on, you better run. Yeah, what's the beaver's speed? About 20 to 30 miles per hour. A black bear is about 40. So, yeah, I think I can make a good guess. Fair enough, priorities. Yeah, I suppose they can eat bread, etc. on its own, but I guess you need your vitamins. Yeah, you can see how that would hold them back. Oh yeah, so firstly, yeah, I think they would have made this safety tunnel in a long time. Well, yeah, a while ago. They haven't been on the other side for ages. Oh, so that's where the badger is. Oh no. It looks like there's others as well. Because you also can't see, well, you don't know if they're able to come alive after this. And oh yeah, not to mention we see a variety of creatures as well. They're mostly earthly, you could say. And that is Rupert. What's his name? Prince Charming in Shrek. It's him. Judging the book by its cover, fair enough. So yeah, he does somewhat help them out, which is quite noble of him, despite having like a snarkiness to him. There you go, and he's kind of using it to his advantage, but at the same time he is crouched down because he's kind of scared. And I think he does manage to. He is successful, but oh, not without a price. Oh, oh my god, the baby for Sheep Scream 2. Oh, no, it's not going to see anything. I don't think so. No. Oh, diversion. A diversion, rather. Rather. There you go. That's. Yeah, I bet the. Yeah, gosh, I think it's suffered a quite a bad bite. So did Mr. Thomas? Oh, because did No, Mr. Thomas didn't have a horn. So yeah, you definitely need to lighten the mood a bit. So yeah, it's kind of a good way to do it. Oh, so he kind of like roams about in that way. That is so yeah, he does have like more of a role, which is neat. Yeah, they've gone this far. They definitely can't turn back now. Edmund's in danger, and yeah, if they want him back, they're gonna have to face the danger regardless. I wonder when he must have been given the food immediately. Um, if he is just getting for it, going for it now. But not to mention, I wonder what that was. And that's frozen as well. I suppose you can, if it's like dripping, you can still drink in that way. Yeah, not to mention they have chains long enough to pass on food to prisoners, which a bit of a design flaw, I suppose, because they could like pass on anything, like a weapon, for instance, that they could palm a goon with. And yeah, so Edmund's made a good guess there. Well, if he's like the centre of some of the trouble. So he does see Lucy in him in some way. Oh no, he was very hesitant to answer those questions. Oh no, he's answered. Yeah, quickly. Oh, so he was kept alive for other information just in case. Which is true. Oh, she was about to go in for him then. So this is probably the first time the witch has been told about Aslan coming back. Oh, well done for trying. Yeah, he's giving that look of please don't say, please don't say. And that too is also true. Oh yeah, that creature right there. Is he the world's version of an orc? Unless I'm wrong. Yeah, because on I forgot which website it is, but it does list down every single like living being in Narnia, even down to trees, because oh, they have their talent into this world. Yeah, so I think which is implying is that you're probably done for because of him and due to very weak reasons, and I think Miss Thomas is not impressed. Now she's going to get oh yeah, here comes the incoming green shot. Yeah, they have done everything else quite well, so you can somewhat see a couple of missteps every now and again. Because I think this kind of grander production is still new, assuming that they're um, yeah. I wonder how big Narnia is. Yeah, I'm not sure. That whip has a massive handle. I suppose that does has not to mention these statues have to be made. I can imagine it's like made out of a darker clay or something, and they'll probably put ice and sugar on it or something. Ah, the sleigh leaves trails. That's good. Yeah, it's just remember there was a couple of moments in the Transformers films where the footsteps aren't they don't leave any markings on them. But they have still done it across other moments. So yeah, I still really like the CG in Transformers. Yeah, I do appreciate them. Despite what's often been said about them. Oh, think you like need to get going. Probably need to jog or something, or a little quick walk. Yeah, they've appeared just now, although I felt like they should have gone earlier. Although they are closer to the trees as well. So yeah, this is almost like the first time the witch gets to see them. I like how the beavers are ahead, which I can see being possible. They're classed as a rodent, by the way, and I think they are the largest type of rodent. Because at first glance you would think they're part of the weasel family, similar to otters, badgers, pine martens, weasels, stoats, the lot. And again, they found a pretty good hiding spot. I guess kind of lucky, but oh well, it hasn't had too many contrivances as far as I can see. Yeah, it's just the weird thing with contrivances is that they would have to really like if they turn the story in one of like particular directions. I think that's where you could question always that reasonable or not. But um, so yeah, I think that's where you have to be selective about them. What they're like with the film's quality and that. But good majority is character choices as well, so that's good. Yeah, yeah, rather good couple. Yeah, not gonna lie, the only thing I've seen Ray Winston in is the Black Widow. Some of those funny like the death scene is so funny the way these glasses fall off. Anyway, oh yeah, Santa exists in this world as well. Yes, of course. So yeah, it looks like White Witch is safe and White Witch. Yes. Well, not well. Yeah, she's just passed. She's away at the moment, and so he looks like he's just been spawned in, allegedly. Because he would have been like hurt. I'm surprised like the witch didn't like turn around and be like, "What's this? All of this." What I quite like about this scene is that the Santa gives them all gifts, but he still has that Santa-like charm to him, which is quite a nice mixture. So he most likely has been like hidden for ages. Oh yeah, we could see. Oh yeah, because she melts away, and so does the season. So the four kids seem to have way more presents than you could think. Oh yeah, we're not just talking about any presents. She's going to be given like the power of Wolverine, but passed on to others, I suppose. And oh yeah, yeah, it does come in handy later on. I also recognise this actor as well. He was in an episode of Death in Paradise, and he's also been in His Dark Materials. He plays the older bloke who once was in a relationship with a witch. So yeah, he's given them gifts as a defence. I do like all of their designs as well. And so yeah, they have their own horn as well. A horn that does play a role in the following film. I don't remember about the third one though. It's weird because I've seen the third one loads of times. All of them quite a lot actually. That actually looks rather cool. But yeah, if they are going to be royals and part of a battle, then yeah, it's going to be very busy. If he has like elves or something, I reckon he's going to be like, oh no, first one in ages, I got to get everything ready. Yeah, he's a rather good interpretation of Santa. Yeah, I can see why he wouldn't be able to join the battle because he is just someone that helps. Did she? She didn't even mention Christmas, which does have its drawback. So yeah, there's something about that I kind of like. Like yes, the snow may be going, but um, wait, hang on. Is there like other land around it? Actually, no. If they don't have much time, and we have seen moments of that with Susan, so that is a criticism of her character that is accurate. Wait, hang on. She's still traveling across the lake. What kind? What? Hang on. So she wouldn't have it. She wouldn't have it taken long to catch them up. But I thought she would have like steered away or maybe gone off the stage to keep looking. But okay. And the wolves also managed to catch her. I can somewhat see why, because it's going through trees then. But okay, I'm a bit lost, but I will give it a benefit of the doubt if I'm wrong. There go these. Seems like his food. Oh, there you go. Nice, careful steps. Not to mention, when Peter was glad that there was no more snow, I think I would have liked moments of all of them. Well, I guess it'll be less cold, that's one thing. But um, but I think there should have been like other hinders of um, snow doing to them. Snow doing to them? No, that's not English. Anyway, they are cornered by both Ice and the Wolf. Oh, that could have looked painful. There you go, spot that to good use. Or if he hurts you, is not going to be a problem. Oh yeah, that's getting too close to the edge. Oh, okay. So yeah, Pete's really been put on the spot here. Yeah, if these kids are new, then the wolf almost has a point, being like, maybe you shouldn't join this battle in the first place. And I feel like that should have a bit more set up earlier, with Peter constantly trying to. Oh, right, so that is convenient, somewhat, despite. Well, if the snow's already melting, then minor convenience, I'm not sure. I've really tried to find it a bit of tricky to judge him. Oh, you never know, could be like force of nature, could be Aslan's help, I don't know, that's a lot of assumption and guesses. Oh my god, that's a massive wave. Yeah, the beaver's fine, and oh yeah, somehow they. Oh yeah, because if they're already planning on to the sword, then well, granted it would have to be more of a solid ice block, but they're fine. And the tune plays. Yep, they're all good. And the beavers are fine. They kind of help guide them later on, which is nice. Oh, well, must be freezing. Yeah, if only you could. If only if Bear Grylls was around. Well, you don't want to know what he does to try and keep warm. It's a bit inappropriate. And yeah, the wolves are definitely in the water, so that's fine. Oh yeah, there's no Lucy at the moment. Oh, so she must have caught on to another set of land later on, I think, because she kind of appears. So yeah, there's that sense of, where is she gone? So it's like a final bit of tension, and then she's fine. Yay! Okay, I seem to be saying that a lot, haven't I? Which is complimenting Peter. Oh wait, so is the spring etc. coming up that fast? Oh yeah, apparently so. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, those look like cherry blossoms. I think I'm rubbish with plants. Yep, so their coats are clearly left and looks like a long journey and bring us around. If not, I might have fast tracked to the summer. Oh, I wonder if she's like, oh, that's rattled her feathers. Yep, she's like, pop that coat back on. Yeah, so which he finds slightly amusing. A traitor, as in, it's almost like all or nothing with these people in here. If you're not on the Queen's side, then you're stone, I suppose. Yeah, she doesn't want any time wasted. Oh, got her. Yeah, he's surrounded in that. He's really cornered. That kind of information did he say it or pass it on? That I don't remember either. Is that new information? Yeah, most likely, yeah. Because it was just Aslan mentioned, but now the army's around. Oh, because of Edmund, the Queen's gonna like prepare herself like immensely. Oh. I think she did that to assert some dominance, or she still thinks Edmund is like being on her side almost. Yeah, I guess it's like a way of being like, watch what line you cross. I think is yeah, she really doesn't like this weather, you know, no butterflies coming out, you know, from her perspective, I suppose. Yeah. Despite the tents all kind of having like too similar of a design, except for Aslan's, of course, he has like the big tent. But yeah, it's quite a nice bit of imagery there. Oh, here's like another reoccurring thing, you know, you have, you know, this entity right there, and then, oh, a couple of them actually. And then there's like the water-based mermaids in the third film as well. That seems to be like a thing. Well, I guess they're like spiritual beings that really like Lucy, I suppose. So we can already see there's a distinct number of races. Well, you already get that idea with the stone statues, and much more of a smaller hint on the Witcher side. So yeah, because we'll see, and you get some idea what they're doing. You know, they look like they've prepared themselves extremely quickly. You know, weapons, resources, wood. Fair enough. Yeah, there's all sorts. I really like the selection of earthly creatures, not to mention, you know, have yeah, more fawns, and then those are centaurs, aren't they? Are they? Yeah, for half horse, half man. I'm not sure what gave Peter that impression. Oh, was it to show evidence of the sword or something? Uh oh, here he comes. He's voiced by Lee Neeson, by the way, if those who may or may not know. And oh, so yeah, they're not just bowing for Aslan, it's just for the four kids as well. There he is. I really like him. He like not only has like a lot of presence, but he has like so much wisdom, and like there's like a bit of mystery despite some bits of history explained. Yeah, I think it's rather cool. Sorry. So that's his name. So yeah, while some there's like an idea of, or maybe Edmund did turn the back on them, but Aslan has a more open mind. But so do the three of them as well. You know, he's their brother after all. Yeah, exactly. That's what I just said. So I guess the situation's hard, although in terms of getting him, that didn't really become much of a challenge. Oh yeah, that's the castle they'll go to later. Okay, and so Peter there is yeah, doesn't know what to think right now. If we managed to listen to that, well, do people have good hearing then? Yeah. I feel like thanks to this scene, I'm a bit clearer on you know what Peter is overcoming. Like, granted, there are like some bits and bobs that puzzled me, but I just hope that helped to clarify it. Not to mention, you know, Aslan is still more interesting as well. You know, like I said, just full of wisdom in that. Anyway, so does the goon have anything better to do? So you know we know what Edmund's like at the moment, so that's all caught up, and there's definitely a contrast. Although I think if it's like same times, I think the White Witch etc. are in a much darker forest. No apology, that's nice. Lucy's joke aside, although with the ball being around, I don't think they would have had a lot of playtime. They probably had to organise all sorts. Oh gosh, there he is. Okay, they probably nearly went for them, but Susan covers them in the blanket instead. That would have slowed them down, and they managed to go there quickly. She needs to follow Obi-Wan's advice. And I think thanks to Aslan, I think that helped made Peter a bit braver, I reckon. Yeah, he's keeping up for 2, but now he will soon get 1. There he is. That was rather quick, actually. So it is kind of risky to leave it just for Peter, but although I think Aslan probably trusts Peter enough to think he can handle him on his own. Yeah, it's risky, but although was there a thing about how these weapons, once you have them, you know what to do with them? Although they have a lead. Yep, cool. I guess it's how convenient that the wolves came about, although I guess it's a... Oh yeah, if they're preparing an army... Oh, I think it was hopefully the wolves trying to, do something beneficial, take down any of the kids. But, the armies are still around anyway. Anyway, yeah, I think he's found a lot more confidence in himself, which is really nice. Yeah. Oh yeah, as I was saying, was there a thing about once you have the weapons, you almost know how to use it immediately? I've heard about Susan's bow having a auto aim feature. Oh, there he is. Also, it's a bit dark, isn't it? Anyway, I'm not sure if what I said earlier was a line in the film, unless that was a book thing, but not stated over. Because without that explanation, why did they put the hat like that to him? I think it's probably just to mock the team. Or they're just not impressed. Also, they must have tied him up rather quickly. Unless it's just managed a way to swap Edmund. Yeah, that would ease her frustration. Oh yeah, by the way, she says, which means she probably goes for goons if she's annoyed. Although, yeah, she, as evident by Edmund, I don't think she won't kill unless there's more of a need, and of course the goon is still rather helpful to her. What's the purpose of that look? Oh, okay. Yeah, so if Edmund's around, that's good. Yeah, I think he's impressed, but at the same time, I think he still feels responsible for Edmund being separated, and I think Edmund, with his head down, I think Aslan's just trying to pass on some wisdom by being oh, just stick around with the kids. You can assume it's something along those lines. I would have actually liked to know about that conversation, although they are... It's like making it come from Peter's perspective at the moment, to which... Yeah, he's... I think onwards he almost becomes the main lead almost, after Lucy being one of the main leads earlier. I wonder what Aslan does in his tent. I think he like plans all sorts, or yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, there you go. That's nice for Lucy to do. Yeah, I don't think Edmund's know what to do. But yeah, he's still a bit. I think he still feels guilty. Oh yeah, so just one more thing about the whole weapon thing. So if there's like a auto learning or auto aiming kind of features to them, then fair enough. Although I personally prefer training because it's like feels more like organic. But yeah, I guess it just depends what kind of story you want to do. Yeah, so they're trying to make light of it, and yeah, it looks like the area's cleared. Although Edmund now coming back does have, yeah, it's going to lead to some kind of consequence, as you'll see. Yeah, it's honourable, but all of them do need to stay together. So yeah, it's and then that right there's an acknowledgement of Edmund admitting his mistakes, although he's like willing to, brave enough to stick around. To which, yeah, that's worthy of him. And I mean, she's sticking around as well. Oh, so she is practicing. Okay. Oh, I think this is like evident of the whole um, auto aiming thing. Oh, I say auto aiming. So they do practice then. Okay, but what Lucy does here is, yeah. So does that like have an auto aiming feature then if she throws it? Not that she ever does that again. Oh, so okay, so they do try. Oh, so they do train. Okay, what did I? What was I thinking with the whole auto naming feature? I must have watched a YouTube video and they fibbed to me. Yeah, I wonder why the horse got speed by the beaver. I think it's almost like an like a fraction of some kind. Those are cyclops, aren't they? Yeah, because they too get quite tipped to quite a lot. Because sometimes they're presented as like giants, but in this case they're just simply like bigger creatures. And we already also got more of an idea about the Queen's team. She has minotaurs and all sorts of everything as well. She has polar bears later as well. I remember that. So despite for them being tied to their property, she still thinks of that a as a betrayal, which fair enough. So I think it is just oh, bold move. I think that at the moment, like, there kind of helps build some tension, before they fight later on. But I think this conversation is about, like, who truly owns the rules, who truly, like, like owns like the law, and whose rights are which. Yeah, I think that's what most of this is about. But yeah, because she thinks of herself as a ruler at a point where she thinks Edmund should be punished. Although Aslan already has another idea. And from that look, it's a decision which is a very tough one. Yeah, and they have quite an extensive chat as well. And I think because of how tense it all is, everyone's just chilling and standing there, which yeah, I can see why. Yeah, not to mention Aslan. Yeah, I think he said something about how he was there where Narnia. Well, oh yeah, was he like the one who created Narnia or something, or at least helped lay down a lot of the foundations alongside other entities? Like, were there other entities similar to Aslan, something like that, or was he just like him on his own? Yeah, and that's all. That means something else. And yeah, Aslan's like, yeah, just go. Yeah, because not gonna lie, there are like a whole heap of other animals that I do like above lions, like otters, penguins, and elephants. But yeah, Aslan does really like showcase all. Um, yeah, just because of the many traits Aslan has. Yeah, I think he just like really embodies what a lion is. Alongside the Lion King, they show off as lions as being really like courageous and skilled, etc. And not to mention, yeah, the White Witch. Yeah, I think this is the last time we see her in that white dress. Yeah, and the crown is nearly non-existent. Nearly non-existent. Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was a me thing or like TVs at the time, but there were like times where the scenes are ever so dark. I was wondering what other people think about that. Although, yeah, it looks like Lucy's been hearing some things, but not to mention she was the only one looking at us and I'm thinking, oh, something's not right. If a promise was made, then what was it? Bit risky of them to follow, although, I think Lucy has always been curious in that, and Susan's just around to defend her. Year end of it, I think. I'm not sure how quiet they were because, my headphones I can't really put fully in due to my ear problems, but I guess he could easily hear them and etc. Oh, I think it's just some comfort which he, Aslan, like appreciates, before handing himself in. Yeah, for those who don't know the story, you're just not sure what's going to. Oh gosh, that farewell. Um, yeah. Although they still decide to stick around. Luckily, they do hide well. But not to mention where the White Witch is at, is where it's like all lit up and that. So yeah, I think as long as Lucy and Susan stay in the dark, and well, they could do with ducking a bit more, but yeah, I can see how they're hidden enough. And we do see more variety of wildlife, which is a lot. And it's enough distinction between Aslan's side and the Witch's side, the type of creatures both sides have. I can see the fear in him. I say a quick thing as well before I forget. The witch later go like she wears gold for the battle, and I think that's almost like her way of trying to make herself like a proper ruler. Once she sorts out Aslan. because of a deal being made, Aslan is not really allowed to fight back. I say, despite not seeing a lot of screen time, of Aslan, you still like feel bad for him, and you still feel the weight of the choice he's, the choice the deal he made. You can still feel the weight of it. I wonder what those creatures are, because is every creature like, does it come from mythology, unless did C.S. Lewis come up with some original creatures? Although here's the other thing: how many creatures did the film make up? Make up themselves. So here she's like questioning their trade almost. Yeah, what does she mean by that? As if her power is... Because, it doesn't go all snowy again, so... Unless... Oh, unless it's just ruling power she's referring to. Yeah, you can see that they're stuck around. And do they, because I don't think Aslan made a long journey there, so I think they still fight in the following morning, don't they? I suppose it is just preparing um, a lot of it before the battle on the following day, because although it looks like the sun is coming up, so yeah, it must be a lot later in the night, after midnight, I reckon. I think it's also worth mentioning that a scene like that, you would have to make sure it's not too scary for children, considering this is a PG, isn't it? Although I think in the many times I watched it, especially when I was younger, like, sure, it's extremely intense, but it doesn't go too far with it, like, not too much for a younger audience. Oh yeah, not to mention Lucy tries the the healing a potion, I guess you could call it. She only tries that later on because yeah, I think yeah, at this point them two are just trying to adjust to what's going on. So yeah, they've all sorted this out. That just created a thought. Did the mice simply want to get rid of the rope, or do they already know about what Lucy possesses? Like, does anyone on Aslan's side know, um, about what all four of the all four in the prophecy? What kind of weapons and abilities they have. Not to mention, because did we even see these mice in the camp? Oh, and this thing gives a yeah, a first hint of these trees being living beings. Like they don't move like they do in the sequel, but they're not like they're trying to communicate something. Yeah. Also, yeah, as I was saying about the healing potion, so I think you know Lucian's using the most like try it out just in case, and probably doubting if it would work or not. But yeah, we're not quite there yet. So yeah, we know that this being is on their side. Alright, so it's the early morning and they all need to start prepping. Prepping, yeah, I was trying to say. It's kind of a tricky word to say. So the sisters are away, and was, Susan, would be um, a long range fighter, but at least them two are safe. Oh, so the leadership's passed on to him. That's actually really nice because like there's only been because Asnan would have spoke to them too about you know just asking about their views of the prophecy and trying sort of ways to get them to believe in it and also with Peter being more braver, more responsible, more apologetic for his actions. I can somewhat see why Edmund would see Peter as like true leader. So all of this little brother scrapping or just scrapping between brothers, all of that is pretty much over. Now granted there's some bits and bobs that do carry over to the following films, but at least they will be getting along a lot better. And that is a and I guess that's partially true considering the reinforcements later on. I quite like that. Well, not only do I like this build up, but the entire battle is actually like rather good. Yeah. Although let's see what the strategy's like so far. So yeah. So they're just simply encountering one another. Yeah. So they're all moving along. And yeah, Nasladin's team is pretty much they're just staying where they are for now. Well, granted, they do have a whole heap of long range attacks which they're going for first, which is sensible. Although here's the question: let's see how long, like if they're able to carry on some of these long range attacks before going for a charge. That is a lot. Yeah, just one last look. Yes, Edmund's safe up there, so yeah, he's all right. Would that be the same horn that Susan used earlier, or just no one? I think my headphones have dysfunctioned. Although I can hear something now, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, this is just like an all or nothing kind of battle, so you can see why the Queen would definitely want to get rid of the lot. Yeah. I think one thing I really like about this battle is that there's so many like unique races with all having different abilities, and because we often see fancy films where um, like both armies that have like their own even like for instance a good side and a bad side, they will have like their own gear, own abilities and such, but all of them will be like extremely well, just they would all be extremely similar. But in this case, to have all of these right here creatures, it definitely makes this fantasy battle a lot more fresh. Alright, so that's the first move, and that's quite effective. And yeah, I think there would be 2 less griffins to carry over this move, so you can see why that doesn't really continue. Although they've done their best, so that's alright. Yeah, they don't really speak to each other much, but they are. Yeah, Peter pretty much said it. Yeah, it is just doing it for him. Yeah, so the charging is alright. So yeah, they tried the bolder move, which is cut short for understandable reasons, and they can't exactly fire bows from that distance. So yeah, the charging here I can see happening. Like, granted, you could have. Oh, okay, no. So there's some bow people up there. Okay, so both with the overwhelming charge and the bows. Yeah, I can see how that would work. I like how these are either cheetahs or leopards. I think they're leopards. Yeah, I can see how they're the fastest. Or are some of them cheetahs actually? Yeah, really fantastic score piece. And then, yeah, it just gets all silent and then all clashes. There we go. It's very brief, but you can still see all sorts of some variation in the abilities already. Gosh. Because it's a PG, that means that there won't be as much action, which is a bit of a shame, but at least does give you a much bigger idea. Because even despite what any film shows, you can, or as a viewer with an imagination, you still can imagine all sorts of ways the various races can, what would they look like if fighting one another. So they probably might be joining the battle, or like settle at camp. Um, I think they probably would come back to camp only to be like, oh, so that battle's going on. Oh yeah, because I think something like, the Griffin would probably let them know. Oh, yeah. Don't really actually know what happens. If Aslan like disappeared, or did he like run off the platform and cause that crack, or was he like? Yeah, that I'm not so sure. That part's like in the air a bit. They've done so Susan thinks there's someone else involved, but now he's around. I think I would have liked more screen time between Aslan and the children, but I think at this point it's yeah, there is definitely like some kind of connection they made. So when he says that, I think he was going to, yeah, he would already be aware about reinforces, well, you know, other forces, you know, not being around yet. So he must know about the the prisoners and the, you know, turning the people to stone. He should know that, and if he knows that, then yeah, that's, if he knew that already, then yeah, so he's going to go over there, more numbers, and then with the battle. And we can see he does run quite quickly, and there's not a lot of distance between locations, so yeah. So I feel like that ability could have been used sooner. It's only because, you know, the Queen has just sent additional, um, you know, forces, so it's just keeping the battle contained, which I can see how that helps. Another thing as well, I wonder why there's more people on the, or more beings on the witch's side. Because yeah, I think everyone would have passed that information on. Yeah, despite, unless Peter manages to get everyone to hear him, which is unlikely. I was going to say something. Okay, so they're deciding to retreat, and yeah, this is like quite a rocky area. So yeah, it's like almost like a. Oh, okay, so it's leading to a trap. Okay, that's rather neat. Yeah, and all of these rocks would help with the cover and that. Oh, that looks like some goon's got a head. How's that gone? Oh yes, yeah, as I was saying, so yeah, Aslan and the Witch, yeah, I would have liked to know their, you know, what they, you know, things, how they think it should rule, unless it is just as simple as, you know, Aslan who's, you know, created this great world only for the Witch to completely want to own it all. I think maybe it is just as simple as that, but at the same time, I am wondering why she does have higher numbers. And I often get puzzled about how that rhino went down, but regardless, he's carrying on going. We don't know an awful lot about him, but he's, you know, definitely a good fighter, and he's like Aslan's servant, so he definitely has, you know, like a decent position around this whole army. He's got a fair blade as well, fair enough. Peter, I think he could have run after them to help. Oh well, that's him gone. Oh, and that's an interesting match got there. Oh, even the castle is melted more so, because it's like showing more rock in that, and it's like less blue. And yeah, she would definitely recognise him. Yeah, because with the scarf etc, you can see why Miss Thomas would be, you know, how he would stand out. And also just seeing that position as well, it's just making them wonder, you know, what could have happened alongside the being done stone. And yep, if as Aslan's like a, you know, powerful entity, yeah, something like that would be reasonable. Yeah, that kind of ability. And so this is how he comes back, which is. although if Aslan is um if he needs to do that with everyone, that could be quite time consuming. Unless he does like a massive blow of some kind. Okay, so did he um quickly get them out of the stone form, or did they all eventually catch up with Aslan? Because if it's the second, then why leave the battle? Or were they like around the camp waiting for Lucy and Susan, perhaps? And not to mention, all of this is now playing in real time, so yeah, Aslan must have de-stoned them very quickly, the whole lot. So you have seen about how what trouble's around. There is cases of Peter just standing there, but I suppose we could just talk up to everyone being preoccupied with other foes. Oh yeah, where's the Dawn French Beaver? Where is she? Oh, we can see how this turn of stone kind of ability is works up to a favour well. Well, no, that wasn't English. You know how it helps in battle, because we saw the Griffin like completely smash, so he's totally done for. We can assume that she was trying to go for Peter, but no. There we go. Edmund's got rid of that ability, and then it doesn't take long until. Gosh. Like, that's like an extremely piercing stare as well. Because yeah, not only is it like a case of yes, I've won this fight over you, but I think it's like a sense of anger that Edmund turned her back on her. So yeah, now Peter feels responsible again, and he's going to go for her. So it's fair enough. He is a bit of an overswinger, but yeah, I quite like the sort of fighting. There's a lot. Good dodge there. There are like a couple of flashy moves, but ones that they're not too ridiculous. Because in modern movies we've seen cases of people like spinning for no reason, but yeah, I don't think there's much of that there. Oh yeah, I love that shot. That's probably my favourite shot because it was like used as part of the marketing, which is really cool. There we go, more reinforcements. Peter, don't get distracted. Don't stop to look. Don't stop to look. Don't stop to look. Don't stop. Come on, fight. Yep, there you go. At least the armor comes in handy. Although she could have easily gone for her head, but we can imagine why something like that would be a bit distraction. There you go. That's how he can help. And we saw him earlier in his statue. So Peter's definitely unlikely to win this, but that's a long distance. So yeah, there is that look of because I think there is like the way they both look at each other. There's that sense of, I think Aslan's like being like this sense of disappointment in a case that she didn't really want to take her life almost, but it's what had to be done. Not to mention he's just managed to get all of their battle managed to fast forward the lot, which you can somewhat see happening because I think all of these creatures they made at real time, but yeah, these the 4 kids, time seems to work differently for them. Yep, he's gone. I think that's the only time Susan shoots someone, which we do see a lot of her cool moves in the following film. Yep, 1 drop is all it takes. 。 there's oh yeah, something else I just thought of. So if Edmund didn't, you know, betray Aslan's team beforehand, and the four of them came straight to Aslan with, and the witch like found out far too late. Does that mean that, like, would that deal between Aslan and the Queen, would that deal? Oh no, that deal wouldn't have been made. I don't think it will probably just go straight to the battle. Um, but yeah, regardless, yeah, Edmund's fine. He did not listen to the beaver, but he didn't listen for a good reason. You know, trying to help him, and he did. He got rid of the stone ability, and yeah, luckily he's fine. I think the armor must be quite effective, and oh yeah, no, he's just going to heal a whole heap of people, and yeah, Aslan's obviously going to de-stone a whole heap as well. So yeah, that's some of the numbers back. Oh, yeah, not to mention, you know, this what Lucy has, I think she's downright resurrecting people as well, beings rather, and also mermaids exist. I feel like that's like enough of a heads up before the third film, although we don't exactly see them, we only see like a water version of them. And we are, yeah, this is what the castle looks like. I really like some of these tunes as well, because they kind of come back from time to time in the trilogy, almost like a moment of, oh yes, we've achieved some success, and then everyone's like positioned in a certain way as well, which is interesting. Yeah, even Edmund right then, he's like, you know, smiling that he's becoming a royal, but at the same time he is like far more aware. You know, he's not like, oh yes, I have got it. It's it feels like he's earned it, but with respect. And so everyone gets crowned, and he's got a new scarf as well. So it's a shame we don't see him again. But yeah, how long is in the Narnia world it's set like, is it like 100 or so years or something? Yeah. I say I wondered, you know, when we see the four kids grow up, yeah, I wonder what they've been doing all this time. I suppose just overseeing the whole of Narnia, maybe like sorting out some of the White Witches' shenanigans. Yeah, and it sticks with them even like after the third film. There you go. So the poor first bit died, and oh yeah, but yeah, Edmund's like laughing about that, and he's probably told the others, yeah, the poor lion. Hopefully, yeah, like I said, I just hope that they're able to rub it off. And we saw that the fox is fine, so yeah, that's good. And we can assume that Aslan has all sorts of duties, so yeah, I think it does need to make a move. Yep, absolutely. Granted, I feel like we do see Aslan the most in this film, and he almost gets like less screen time over time, but he doesn't have an awful lot here. But he is like one of those powerful beings who, you know, only comes about when he's needed. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a nice payoff. You know, it helps like round up their friendship. Yeah, and they seem to be missing him already, because despite um, I think I would have also liked to see, Mr. Thomas, having like some moments of Aslan or just hearing about how much he means to him almost. Although I actually know, I think Mr. Thomas just like being like, oh, yeah, like yes, he will definitely, come and see us again because Lucy seems to be missing him already. Although I think that just goes back to how I feel like that dynamic would have should have been built up a bit more. Would have added more about why um Lucy, is he doesn't want Aslan to go. So that this exchange, it all helps confirm that they're all the same people. Yeah, so that's the lamppost. So yeah, we can assume that it's gone through the normal season cycle, unless it's just nice and warm without making any grass dry. When it's like summer for a long time and the grass goes all yellow. I just hope that's not what's been happening. I felt like I recognised the actress, but I don't know. It's just a lot of like firing neurons in my brain and just wondering, which face does that match with who? So yeah, the lamppost means yeah. So they found the wardrobe again, and we can assume they've been in there for I don't well who knows how like the year works. If it is like a collection of those 365 days. But yeah, they just lived for an extra 30 years, so we can assume, and now they're back here. And they're all young again. And as evident with the cricket ball later, they've just come back rather afterwards. Yeah, there you are, line adds to it. Yeah, it's a very long tale, not just the film, but the 30 years have been staying in there. And then a song plays. I wonder what song though. There is an end credit scene later on, and once you encounter it, it's basically adds to Lucy wanted to go back in there again, and the professor showing like some awareness once again, but also just saying, just go back to bed, and then the line roars, and neither of them hear it, luckily, and but yeah, I think it is just I guess like its own way of being like, oh hey, we're gonna hopefully make another one, and yeah, we managed to make two more. Sadly, not all the films, because whilst Language of the Wardrobe is definitely the first to be published, it's actually the second chapter in the whole story. Because yeah, there's I forgot the order. Also, yeah, during my conclusion, I am going to have a look at how the books and the film differ. Although, just focus on this one first. Oh, he tried. So was he sitting in there thinking that one of the kids will go for it? Unless maybe even if he doesn't know about the wardrobe thing, does he like to believe in what kids hear or see? So yeah, it makes him quite a open-minded bloke. Yeah, we'll let the credits go about, and I think I'll be talking outside of the credits. Anyway, so that's the film, and it's rather good, but yeah, a whole heap of improvements. Something that's got our head scratching, and not to mention there has been a whole heap of things that it has attempted, but it could have done better. I think what do we start off with? Yeah, that's a good starting off point. So yeah, my favourite thing about this trilogy is just the imagination. I just really love these ideas on the surface level. You have, like, I don't know what type of mythology it pulls from. Probably a collection of multiple ones, but the way a lot of them, we can assume they live as different societies, but they all come together in different sides, and there's a whole heap of creatures, and we see a wide collection of abilities they have, and I think it would have been like kind of neat to get an idea of what all of their lifestyle is like, because otherwise we're just assuming that they just sit around, and when Aslan's like, oh, the army time, and then they just get the gear on and that to do some preparing. Unless, no, it is like a world of its own. It's not just a world that Aslan created and then just waiting for whenever the fall from the prophecy, come about. But regardless, so yeah, it's not. Yeah, the world also doesn't really have much of a political status quo, other than we know that the likes of Aslan, created Narnia. He forms from the rules, and the White Witch, attempted to become a new ruler, and she somehow has certain races on her side. Both teams need to be very distinct for some reason, and so yeah, but yeah, so yeah, whilst we could have got more of an idea, but you never know. C.S. Lewis might have not written those rules, and he treated it more as a abstract Fantasyland, which is still fine. It is made for a younger audience, so it's made simpler, which is understandable. Like, granted, there are like kid films that do clarify a lot of how the societies work. Like the first two Shrek films do that quite well. A proper difference between everyone's positions. But never mind. So yeah, and we've got a whole heap of variety of land. Whether it's like winter, spring, or summer. Yeah, it's just mountainous forest, lakes, and a couple of rocky areas, and the couple of castles as well. So it kind of reminds me of Minecraft world, and it feels yeah, it has some scale, and I feel like I was about to say it gets broader, only a bit. Although in the second film, a lot of that land changes literally. So yeah, there is that, and um, so yeah, and I guess very quickly, filmmaking wise, yeah, there's some VFX animals, some hold up better than others. A lot of it's quite equal as well, because you would think that the main animals have more attention, but there are like some animals with limited screen time that do seem to hold up quite well, and there is like a couple of green screens that haven't held up so well. But other than that, the likes, the costumes, the on-set filming, some of the sets, yeah, I think a lot of that's rather good. The score I also really like as well. Like the main theme is definitely, yeah, definitely has some memorable motifs, and yeah, it does have like a really good sense of inspiration to a lot of it. And I think onto the themes of the film as well. I was just thinking about this film before watching it, and I feel like it's one way to look at the film is, these kids, they've had to evacuate to avoid the war, and then they've ended up in another battle themselves, and because of that battle, amongst a whole heap of events, they've learned to grow up, work on their flaws, get along with one another, and learn to trust one another. And I feel like it's a pretty nice representation, because because when you grow older, you do get along with your siblings, as you grow older. Well, it just depends what happens, but I think it does take a lot of work and moments to help everyone else involved. And so yeah, so it's like I guess like a coming age story in some way, and Um, so yeah, it's like a way of overcoming their own their own troubles, and also like some kind of or when the when they're not facing any type of evil in Narnia, it's almost like a sense of escapism from time to time. They get to chat with animals and encounter other entities never seen before but are really nice. And yeah, so that's like one way of looking at the film. And yeah, I'm not really a kind of person that always looks for themes, but yeah, I think that's like the best way to describe it, or how I personally interpret it. With trying to find a consistent through line or message. And yeah, sorry if I did get mixed up. By the way, it's just I guess just outlining some thoughts. What shall we hop on to? Is it time for the characters? Yeah, just having a deep think. I think what I will say is that as a PG film, I think, I've said it earlier, like despite, some tense moments and some violence, is kept at a minimal, then I can see how it might be a tad scary for much younger kids, but yeah, I think it has understood its audience rather well. But yeah, let's hop into the characters. So firstly, looking back, I want to say that the White Witch is probably the best written character, and the reason I say that is because a lot of them, a good portion of these characters anyway, you have that well established personalities, history that backs up their choices, and the reason they're doing things, and the role in the story. A lot of them tick their boxes, but what the White Witch have that, although I guess Aslan has that as well, where they both have their own intelligent ways of solving their problems. Like for instance, if focusing on the witch for now, she does extremely well to manipulate Edmund, and she keeps hold of him for information, and she definitely gets rid of those who are no use to her. And yeah, she is like consistent with it. And she starts off with someone quite endearing, but there's like a dark underline, or just something dark within at first, and then that becomes a lot more clear later on. But going from almost a very angel-like being into just like a force of evil. Really like really unstoppable. Like real skilled fighter, and that stone ability, that already gives her like a lot of leverage. But even without those abilities, yes, she uses a lot of presence. Yeah, quite scary, and not. And I've only seen Tilda Swinton in a couple of roles. She was really good at in Doctor Strange. It's the Asian one. Yeah, she was really cool there. But yeah, I think like this is probably my favourite roles, and I know these films aren't part of their highest pedestal ever, but yeah, I think she is like a rather good villain. Even to this day, she still gets me on edge, because I think what's good about a villain is that because if you still feel on edge to this day despite what's going on, I think that's definitely one thing done well. Because when you like think of the scariest villains, you always think, oh, do I feel like I could try and counter them with a point, or try and go for them? And I just feel like I wouldn't really go for the White Witch. No, definitely not. So she does come back a good couple of times, so we'll see how that goes along. Yes, she like survives. Well, not survives, but continues to exist as spirit. So yeah, we'll see that when we come to that. Yeah, now what that does for her. So yeah, and then Aslan, despite not having a lot of screen time, I really like how he's a very godly entity, and full of wisdom, and he helps the characters in many ways, and shows a lot of care for them. He helps them a lot of times, and even his abilities are they're quite abstract, but you can see why, if he's almost like a like a creator of this world, and yeah, we can see that yeah, he has well, just a lot of powerful presence. Like being able to like fast forward the battle, or probably to like diffuse it in some way like that. That is some kind of ability he has. But yeah, Liam Neeson, yeah, he does well with um, yeah, with what he's like. But yeah, and also I do like when he's like more involved in the action. He takes down the White Witch with a throne and a bite. So, yeah, but rather skilled fighter as well. Yeah, he's like someone I want to see more of. But at this, yeah, they have suggested why he could have done with like interacting with the others a bit more. Like maybe because of how the film was a tad slow at first, maybe if the film found ways to make the earlier points a lot quicker, then maybe that's where it could have allowed more time with Aslan and the others. If like 2 hours 30 was, the time given. So yeah, because yeah, the film does get a lot quicker, more exciting over time. It is normal to feel like a bit dull until the fantasy elements come along in a story like this. But at the same time, like look at the various Harry Potter. Like, granted, there were some magical elements to keep us interested, and I feel like Harry spends more time, in the suburban area more so than the kids do on planet Earth, you could say. But yeah, I just felt like there was some instances where it could have been, yeah, just a tad quicker. But no mind. Yeah, as for the other characters, yeah, Mr. Thomas, he's it's like a very nice personality. You can see why he would be friends with Lucy, and he definitely has his own role. He chooses to be their friend instead of assisting the witch, which means that yeah, not everyone's following her rule. And yeah, he comes back to hold the battle, and yeah, despite being memorable, yeah, yeah, just yeah, I think he has a quite a small amount of presence compared to other characters. It's still rather good though. Yeah, James McAvoy also does really good with the role as well. And yeah, and there's the many of the witches' goons. A lot of them are varied. Yeah, I think the leading wolf, I forgot his name, but yeah, he definitely has a lot of function in the story, and yeah, he too is like really fearsome as well. I feel like that quick reaction he does with Edmund when we first see him, I think that's like enough to really make him the kind of being you don't want to mess with. And then you have the fox, I forgot his name, but he does have his own wit and charm, which he tries to use to his advantage, and very small in his role once again, but he does help a good couple of times. So there's that. The beavers I really like as well. They really help thrust the main adventure, and I'd really like yeah, both well, yeah, just both Ray and Dawn's is their acting for the beavers. They definitely have like a lot of personality to them as well. There is like times in the story where everything does feel very sectioned. Like, for instance, with the beavers, they have a huge portion in the middle, when they're travelling, but the role kind of gets reduced. Like, they do have like times in the battle, but once we enter the camp, there's a couple of moments of reoccurrence, but yeah, how would you make them more involved? I'm not sure. I think when it comes to stories like these, where it's like such a huge amount of characters, all of these little things. Because when I was writing my story, I just remember thinking, oh yes, loads of characters, how exciting. But it's important to figure out, how many characters you actually need, because it's almost like putting it as small as possible. I mean, depending on what the role is, and maybe there could have been times where, like, for instance, instead of having the fox character, maybe you could have had I don't know, maybe like one of the beavers create a diversion, and and maybe one of them could turn stone later, to really add a sense of tension against the witch as well. That could be something, although I don't know, it just feels a bit rash. Yeah. And then who else was there? The Mrs. McCready barely has a role in this. She helps introduce the house, and she does add like some tension when the ball is thrown. Although I feel like the idea for all four, and well, the reason all four of them go in the wardrobe, it's alright as a reason, especially when they're kids, trying to avoid trouble. But there's something a part of me that I feel like there could be a better way of doing that. Anyway, we'll just hold that thought. But yeah, the professor, despite his limited time, he, with what he explains to the children, about, trusting each other and and believe in Lucy. Yeah, he does have his own way of helping, despite having an extremely small role. But yeah, I like him. Yeah, the actor does well in all of the roles he's in. And I think that takes us to... yeah, I said before going on to main characters. Yeah, by the way, I think the battle is also just rather good. Not only has a lot of memorable moments, but there's a lot of strategy moments which I can see making sense in that. So yeah, I can't really think of any problems with that. Seem to be reasonable on that. Yeah, a lot of the action is rather cool. Yeah, granted, a lot of the action is much later on, but do you have like the wall-to-wall scene as well, which really speeds things up. Oh yeah, there is the Santa character. It's once again very small screen time, but I do like him as well. So yeah, I think that's like the thing with Crest stories. You do just have a whole heap of characters that just come in and out, but all of them have like a lot of charm and wit. So there is that, and I suppose that is like a Harry Potter thing as well, because for instance you do have like for instance like the goblin characters coming in and out of the story as well. Alright, so getting on to the kids. So firstly, I'm when I'm trying to think about the four of them, I struggle to find something straightforward to say about Susan, because when you think about the other kids, Peter is someone that's given responsibility, and he learns to accept that role and earn that role, and knows what he's doing wrong, despite trying to be the leader all the time. And then Lucy is the one who's innocent and naive, and yeah, the one who first discovers the place. And yeah, Edmund is the troublemaker, and he learns from his wrongdoings very severely. But yeah, with Susan, like, there's a couple of cases such as, oh yeah, you're not mum, and stop trying to think you're smarter than you are. And that doesn't really have a payoff, because like her last moments, significant moments, is, she saves Edmund from the goon. By the way, he's never has a good few moments. Yeah, he does work as a good villain psychic. Anyway, so yeah, there is that, but she's just hanging around Lucy as well. Yeah, to which like Lucy does need like some support and comfort, and just safety in numbers. But yeah, she doesn't really have an arc or learn anything. I say because for those who may or may not know, there's these. After the film was released, there's these individual books just about the characters. There's Peter's story and Susan's stories, etc. And I wonder what these books, say about these characters, especially Susan. What is the through line, if I am missing something. But yeah, I really struggle to find a through line. She's still very very good though. The way she does look after Lucy, and a lot of her reactions are very justified. But I feel like the second film probably does it the best, because actually no, we'll say about the third film. There's this in the third film, for those you do or do not remember, there's that aspect about how Lucy wants to become more like Susan, and there's not really and that setup too. I guess we'll get to it later, but I don't. Yeah, I think it's like kind of puzzling me looking back. But we'll get to that film when we get to it. But yes, I still like a lot of the moments, but she's just the one out of the main four who I do understand the least. And even Lucy, she almost becomes like the main character, discovering Narnia, but then it kind of goes on to Peter. I kind of wish he was more on the forefront. Yeah, because it's almost like switching between like which protagonist is like the most want to follow the perspective of the most. Yeah, because I do find it because I guess we'll use Cobra Kai as an example because despite a couple of character let's say like the way the characters are prioritized, it can trip up every now and again, but at least we were told from the get-go that Johnny is the dude who we followed the most of, like I said, despite being overshadowed a couple of times by other characters, especially in like season 5 for instance. But you're in Narnia, it does go from, Lucy's one to discover Narnia, you're definitely following her. Look, she's made a mate with Mr. Thomas, but then you have I think with Edmund at least he is like one of those characters, almost like a definitely positioned as a secondary protagonist where he does learn his own lesson, but you still follow Lucy more so at this point, and you do like Edmund has like a consistent spot, but Peter gets given like a lot more screen time later on, and with the whole because Lucy at least is the one that she intakes a lot of the events around her, but Peter becomes far more active, and even when times where when the centaur that it's almost like a secondary like deputy to Aslan, and he talks about how he has trust in Peter. I would have liked to. Oh, hang on, no. Peter, took down the wolf. So yeah, of course, there is moments like that that really show him being a true leader. But maybe I am overthinking it. I think it's just because of how he was a bit scarce at the start. So yeah, I'll just hold it right there. Edmund's role though, he is very consistent. He's like drawn by temptation, and then he does overcome, his wrongdoing, and despite, he does, take down the witch's power, making it easier for Peter to fight the witch. And because I remember thinking, does yes, Edmund did get hurt, but was there like any like setup that when that any tension between Peter and the witch beforehand? And there was a bit, so yeah, there was that moment as well, so that helps. So there is a lot of things that probably could do with clarifying. Maybe it's me overthinking. Yes, I probably would have liked to be more clear on things, and but I think with what it prioritizes wants to do, as far as I can see, even if the starting points were a bit slower, and also some of the introductory moments, they don't get referenced an awful lot, but it is just focusing on each moment in the plot, and it uses its time well despite being slow at start, and once again the imagination is really good. I still like a lot of the messages, and I think a film like that's really good for young children, really showing how he can be courageous and learn from any wrongdoings, and I feel like it does deserve like to be on a higher pedestal. This one and the because I'm a bit in doubt about the third one, but the second one's like the cool one out of the three, but this one it used to be like referenced a whole heap. I guess it still does, but definitely not as much compared to other film franchises recently. But yeah, I think it does stand out as a rather good first step into slightly more mature content for children, and yeah, just the imagination is rather cool. Yeah, I think yes, Lewis should definitely be praised more. Yeah, for a whole heap of good, great stuff. Oh, yeah, there was yeah. Let's do this last thing. So book and film comparisons. Let's go. Differences. Um, Witch in the Wardrobe. The difference between book and film. Okay. Yeah, because I read it once and I do not remember much. Okay. Oh, hang on. Again, it's the film series. Yeah, not the. I remember watching the like the old TV ish. Like it's almost like a TV film. You know that really old 50s or 60s version of Lion Witch of the Wardrobe. And despite being low in budget, I still remember some animated segments. And not to mention, I remember that the witch's stone weapon, stone freezing weapon, is like extremely small, and when Edmund like chops the top of it, it's just like a small ding that gets chopped off at the top. So the film does work much better to make it more dramatic. And yeah, I felt like I could. Is there like a full version somewhere? I am kind of curious, to really see how it differs. But as far as I can remember, the film definitely does the book justice way more. Anyway, any sequence show. Okay. While exploring the house in the film Shintas while playing. Oh yeah, so exploring the house. So, oh yeah, maybe what the film should have done, if they wanted to be more accurate, maybe, once they're introduced to the whole house, everyone just like has a wander, and Lucy's like, oh, is probably told, oh, you be careful, and then she finds the wardrobe. I feel like that would have been more quicker. Anyway, second time I was playing. Even when Edmund sounds like he visited the wardrobe like early in the book. Once again, might not do that in the film as well, because even though you need a lot more setup of but well, we already have an idea about what their life could have been if they didn't enter the wardrobe. They would have just been chilling in the mansion they're staying in. Oh yeah, that reminds me. So between film 1, 2, and 3, how did they? What were they doing in London in the first place, um, and why did only Lucy and Edmund stay with Eustace? What happened to Peter and Susan? Oh yeah, there is a justification, but as far as I can remember, but I'm a bit stuck on that, but we'll go back to that, especially with later films anyway. He's not Peter. Okay, that's just a small swap. That's just a character difference. Not really. Okay. Sherry is telling the truth that did not share his cell estimates had already been turned. Oh, okay. So Mr. Thomas was already stoned. So the film created the interaction between Edmund and Mr. Thomas. I can see how that was like somewhat purposeful. Although there was that there's that moment where Edmund, reveals like a piece of information to the Queen, and then she's like, oh, okay, that's handy, and then takes him off with him. And then later on, when seeing the fox, that's where Edmund reveals yet another piece of information which he kind of heard before. So okay, so if they were more book accurate, so Mr. Thomas would have been, turned stone. That could have been just as shocking when Lucy finds him later. Well, granted, it does shrink Mr. Thomas's screen time, but cutting that won't be an awful lot because we already know he's imprisoned in that. So if Edmund, tried to tell some information, to protect the fox, he could have said both about Aslan and the army then. And yeah, I just feel like if that was that too would have been a bit quicker. Because I just feel like Edmund is just saying yet another piece of information which he knew before to try and save the fox. Yeah, that I found a tad repetitive, if you know what I mean. Well, just like a formula that's used again. Anyway, let's continue. The river sequence, that was a movie invention. I can see why it's like a final obstacle before finally making it to the camp and and Peter with the sword. It does help set up with the wolf interaction later on, so I like that. Fox in Stone after returns about Aslan. In the book, she turns in stone. That sounds convoluted, so the film makes that neater. Oh yeah, sorry, if you're wondering, in the movie, the White Witch turns Fox in stone after Edmund tells her about Aslan. In the book, she turns a party of Narnians into stone after the fox tells her about Father Christmas. Yeah, I don't. That sounds like so convoluted. I'm sure the book makes enough sense, but in the film, when you're trying to get things moving, yeah, I can see that could be tricky. It tells Peter will be leading on just alone. In the movie, Lucy depends on the Esmond. Peter to decide what to do. So letting Peter decide. Okay. So Peter's given a bit more agency then. So instead of being told by Aslan, it's making Peter decide for what to do after Aslan temporarily loses his life. Snape wants to see him recover, but Aslan tells him to go help others before it's too late. In the film, Edmund comes quickly and Lucy goes to help the others. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I think that just helps run up the film quicker because because they all have like that nice enough moment of where Lucy helping Edmund heal, and then they all like yeah, we're together, we won, and then Lucy just goes off from soldier to soldier, just help him help the others in the battle, before going to the castle. So yeah, that I prefer. In the book, the focus remains on Susan, Lucy, and Aslan, and the Battle of Barun. Yeah, of course, that's the name of the location, isn't it? Isn't shown until they arrive, at which point it is almost over. Okay, so it's more so from their perspective. Okay, so the film definitely wanted the big battle. I can see why. And not to mention, other than Susan probably being a decent long range and Lucy maybe trying to assist those in battle, with the healing stuff, but yeah, I just felt like they both still came in at a good time, and it's only when Aslan arrives to which the tide of the battle really turns. Okay. General Orius did not. Okay, so a couple of cut characters. Yeah, so it's just cutting a couple of generals on both sides. Yeah, they did have a couple of those goons higher than others in terms of hierarchy. So we already kind of got that idea, and it does just it's fine screen time wise. In the book, Beaver's tunnel wasn't attached to the dam, but in the film it was. Yeah, that definitely quickens thing. I like that. And then last one. In the book, the children and the beavers had already got out before the wolves came, but in the film, the children had to go through the tunnels to escape. Okay, yeah. So because by doing that, it creates tension, and the wolves nearly got hold of the children, which makes Edmund's arrival, danger to others. So that too I like as an improvement. Anyway, so that's all the film comparisons. So yeah, very interesting. Last time I did something like that was comparing the Polar Express. I won't go through that, but there's some interesting bits and bobs because the tickets was a film invention, and no, let's bring it up actually because I'm really curious. the tickets were a film invention. There was a type of food being eaten with hot chocolate, but instead of the film, it's just hot chocolate alone. And let's just look up the others actually. I'm not the most keen on doing a commentary for that because the others have kind of done it for me almost. So yeah, we'll do the closest I'll do to a Polar Express commentary. Maybe I don't know if I like one of the ideas, but I feel like I would go for other popular films before that one, but because at the moment I'm trying to go for films that aren't talked about as much. So yeah, we'll just do that quickly and then I'll let you go. You can go if you like. If you're not interested, this is going to be the last thing I do before I stop recording. Come on, where's that list? Come on, I'm trying to find the list. No. Let's try this one. Oh my god, where's that website? Yeah, stop making these large paragraphs. I want just a list. Oh my god. Okay, what about this one? Still searching. No, that's not really one. Oh. Yeah, I think hopefully I'll remember to cut off all of the silence. Try this one. No, let's just go from the initial Google search. So apparently the doubt about Santa, the film makes it. Yeah, so apparently the film puts more emphasis on it. The Hobo character was made up. Film invention. So the book is centered around the boy a lot, but in the film it's a bit more about the train journey. Some design differences with the train. Character names almost no different. Okay, yeah, that's not an awful lot. I just remember hearing and seeing a lot more differences. Yeah, there's a whole heap of YouTube videos I think you can look at as well. Okay, so yeah, that's definitely it. I'll let you all go and I'll see you in the next film.